So the word went around town, and here comes the husband of the secretary in Malacanang who would prepare the appointment paper.
Yeah.
And he had two justices of the Court of Appeals who wanted to be in the Supreme Court.
Oh.
And he wanted me to commit in advance before my paper.
This is personal training.
Yan nga, this is direct personal sa rules of court. It is the best evidence, di ba? So I'm narrating this for your book. Hindi ito sit-sit, it's not a gossip. I got turned off. You know, at first I tried to be nice, very courteous, but they were persistent. So I said, as the sponsor of the ombudsman who wanted to bring reforms, you know, to the country, I cannot take it because I'm alone. You mentioned philosophy, because if I sit there, I will question all applicants about their philosophy. In US, we have the liberals and the conservatives. So if there's a case like abortion pending, you can already count the liberals who will vote for it and the conservatives.
Ergo, you will consider both ideology and philosophy.
Yeah.
So you declined?
I declined.
Oh, no.
And the one who took over was Raul Victorino, and then
oh my God.
yung Picasso Flores and all, ano? Sabi niya sa akin, Oli, kinuha ko yung pwestong ayaw mong kunin eh. He is in our board of international advisory council. By the way,
He's the legal counsel of the president.
yeah, I know, later on he became, he can play the ball. But by the way, our chairman, I asked him, is newly retired senior associate justice. He was a collegiate editor, so he's the new chairman of IA. I will be only chairman emeritus. We are in transition, but I will remain chairman of the Institute of Strategy and International Studies.
Very interesting story. That really tells a lot about
Yes, direct personal.
Yes.
The best evidence.
I'll talk to you later about it.
I narrated everything. Maikli lang eh.
Yeah, you, Bert?
Yeah, well, so as a rounding up of the question, for the end result, since you don't have any hard evidence, I take it you don't have hard evidence, your so-called facts are just extrapolation of what happened or what happened inside and outside.
Or just how a journalist works.
The sources, I have
Right.
two sources for at least each information. It's corroborated unless I have the document.
So these sources are corroborated and named.
Some names, a few remain, a few.
Meaning you vetted all
Yes,
this
I vetted
before.
all, yes.
Before.
But
Yeah.
except-
That's more important.
Except when the eyewitness is there's just one person
Yes.
witnessing.
Evident as it may, what do you hope to achieve? Ultimately.
Yes, actually, I hope that everybody who reads the book, or citizens or watchdogs, use as much as possible the information so they can pursue, watch the court better and watch who are the more corrupt ones. And I don't know, make noise.
Be alert about
Be
it.
alert.
Actually,
and be very vigilant
Yeah.
so that they get exposed right away.
That is actually the intention
Right?
of the Institute of Strategy and International Studies. So probably we will buy more copies, you know, because after studying the problems are here, the analysis are here, they are hard facts.
Yes.
We have to think of recommendations,
Yes.
the reforms,
Yes.
and the follow-up. We don't stop. We relentlessly make a campaign, you know, to restore the old glory of the Supreme Court.
Since you're very familiar with Judicial and Bar Council, they need also some reforms within the
That's
council.
true, that's true.
They don't do rigorous checking of the nominees.
That's true.
It's very
Unless you have any
Unless you
more.
have another one.
Yeah, I have some questions. You have 3 parts in your book, and you have several chapters. Amongst this chapter, which one do you think was the most difficult to write, and which one threw more light into the super?
Yeah, it's hard to say which was the most difficult to write.
Everything was difficult to write.
people to do research on where they were most secretive.
Yes.
I think it's the flip-flopping of the
Chapter.
justices.
I see.
Because it's difficult. I couldn't, unlike in the US, where in the law clerks talk to Bob Woodward, the law clerks talk to all the journalists, I had a hard time getting through the law. The staff lawyers, they're scared, they don't want to talk. So I had to go to some justices, I had to look for changing of votes. But why they changed votes, they didn't explain. So maybe that for me was a bit difficult, in getting data information. Because the rest were open and I followed the Chief Justice. I followed him, it was quite open.
And which one depressed you?
Which one
What
depressed you?
depressed me? I think when I did the chapter on the Chief Justice, when I found out, when he lied to me. That for me was, he gave me an interview in 2007 when I was covering the Supreme. That's when he lied to me. So after that, that's why I said, is this really Supreme Court? Because well, now, as you know, as journalists, sources shouldn't lie to the journalist. They could lie to others.
Which Chief Justice?
I asked him a simple question. I said, because as I was still doing my research, I said, I hear from lawyers that you always decide in favor of your mentor, Estelito Mendoza.
Yes.
And he told me, no. I decide more against him than in his favor, in his cases. So I said, that is really good. So I asked his public information officer to help me because Midas Marquez wrote a whole compendium of his major decisions, 700 pages.
So you would itemize them one by one?
I said, can you just help me because in this thick book, maybe you can just guide me. And I said something was wrong when he said, well, that's his mental count. So what we did, I sent a researcher to the UP Law Library. We just paid a small fee. They have a database. We found out we had 13 major cases handled by Estelito. We voted 11 times for him and twice.
That's exactly why from the very start I was uncomfortable when he was appointed Associate Justice and then Chief Justice. Estelito was my professor, you know, and the elder brother of the Chief Justice was my classmate, Layman Puno, who was chairman of the Philippine Wesleyan University. And I knew that during martial law, he was Assistant Solicitor General of Estelito Mendoza and defended martial law. So now when he talked about civil liberties in his recent decisions, I said, this is a turnaround.
Wow, sir, you're one of the few who has noticed this. Because a lot of the people said, oh wait, I didn't know that Puno was defended martial. I didn't know that he did this. So I was depressed when I wrote the chapter on
because I was one of the original Lakas ng Bayan of Ninoy Aquino in 1970.
Wow, I have a separate
That's
session with you.
That's why I am very conscious of these. That's why, you know, I try to revive this. If you will notice, all the 3 children of the Lakas ng Bayan are in the senatorial lineup. Although I knew 2 of them would lose, you know. Only the one who only lost, who won is PG. Kingona. Mon he even called me, Mitra. I knew he would lose, but I didn't tell him. And the other one is the daughter of Nene Pimiter, my former partner, si Gwendolyn. Kasi walang mga preparation. But because we fought to restore democracy, you know, to awaken the democratic spirit of democracy and freedom. And they were, when they were young, they were in our rallies.